Hey, can everybody hear me? I hope. Anyway, how's it going out there on this wonderful summer day? I am Rex Hostom. I'm going to be your humble film instructor this semester for the next 17 weeks. I'm going to be the guy who conducts this course. Um, Hopefully, you get some enjoyment out of it. That's what it's all about. But it's also not going to be real easy because learning is got to be tough, a bit tough. We'll be talking about movies, watching movies, discussing movies beyond what you maybe ever thought of. I'm going to ask a couple simple questions right off the bat, and you can put it up in the discussions and the part of Canvas and whenever this week, and we'll start the ball rolling. Anyway, today's day number 1, Monday, August 17th. Fall semester begins right now. And I know some of you are anxious to get going. So am I. You have, because I've gotten many emails about questions that I'm going to hopefully answer in this lecture. And I answer every day in the announcements. Look at announcements in Canvas. That's where you'll check it out daily. This is where I post everything you'll need to know. And so I know some of you are anxiously awaiting information about Zoom meetings and textbooks to buy. We're going to do all that. But today, mostly I'm going to introduce you to the course. And the reason why I'm doing it on YouTube, because for some reason I'm having some technical issues at my end on Zoom, storing my recording in the cloud. And until I get that taken care of, I'll be doing these YouTube videos, which I've done before. I did them all last spring and summer. So they're not that big of a deal. But I will put the link to this in announcements. And it's also, I'll say where to go to get it. I have a YouTube channel. Go to my name, Rex Haas Thompson. Go and you'll see it. Shasta College, Humanities 4, fall semester, film studies. You'll see it. That'll be posted today. This one will be. And I'll do a couple of these a week probably. But people want to know about Zoom and when we're going to do the meetings. Right now, we're not doing anything on Zoom until I figure out why I'm not able to store in the cloud yet. Also, but you can do things. And to start the ball rolling is read the syllabus. Usually we read it together in class, but we're not in class. Go onto the Canvas and read the syllabus. Most things are there. Some things aren't there. I will be adding some things. It's a blueprint. It's not written in stone. But what is written in stone right now is the textbooks. You need to go get them. This is the one you'll need, The Story of Film. Yes, it's a big hardbound edition, but you could get these used. You could rent them. The Shasta College Library, not library, but the Shasta College bookstore should have them in stock. If not, let me know. I'm not going to sign any readings yet, but this book is going to help you get through the course. The other book you'll need is this little one right here. It's called Writing About Movies, because that's what we're going to do. You are going to critically analyze film. And this book here is going to help you how to figure out how to do that. I'll be assigning readings from this. How to look at a movie. You think you know how to look at a movie? Maybe you do, but not with a critical, analytical thought process. And that's what I want. And when we get closer to our first essay, which I want to sign this week, so don't worry about it, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this little book's important. And you can buy it used. You can look for it online, look for it in the bookstore. It's out there. Shouldn't cost you too much money. Anyway, get those 2 books. Get them quicker you get them, the more we can start diving into cinema. First thing I want you guys to do is familiarize yourself with Canvas. It's important that you understand Canvas. Just click on everything. Take the tutorial. Look at the discussions. Look at announcements. See how it works. I've already had people going, well, I can only see the syllabus. Well, it's because I haven't posted anything. I started posting, so you'll see announcements. So as soon as I post something, that you'll be able to access it. There's no assignments yet, so you cannot access an assignment. I haven't assigned one yet. I probably won't assign you assignment yet. Next week, I'll probably start signing your first essay. This week is an introduction week, and I want you guys to familiarize yourself with the text, with my sort of understanding my style a bit. Give me some background on myself. I've been studying film literally since I was a child, and I studied film making at San Francisco State. Also studied creative writing because I write screenplays and plays and novels, and I also write and direct movies, low budget movies you've never heard of, but they're out there in the world, and we could talk about those later. I'm working on a film right now that I'm trying to do on no money with friends and people who want to be involved in it. From a script I've written. So the desire to always make another film is always there. I'm also working on a documentary that I've been working on for a year or 2, and I'll keep pushing forward on that. So the game is still very much alive in my world. I am lucky, fortunate enough to be able to teach this Shasta College. I started 5 years ago, and there. I've been teaching. I came to it late in life. I started teaching about 2006. Creative writing, anything to do with English and writing and film studies, film history, that sort of thing. I also work for a couple other colleges besides Shasta College, but Shasta College is my base college. And I'm used to being in the lecture hall. It's too bad I won't be able to see you guys in there this year because it makes it a little easier, obviously, when I'm there and you're there, and I can show the films, show film clips, and we can talk about it. But we're going to have to do that all virtual because that's the world we live in right now. And that's okay. We finished this course in the spring online, and it was okay. It turned out all right. And then I taught a summer school course, and it was all right also. Is it frustrating? A bit, because right now I'm talking to myself in my room. I'm also a painter and an artist. There's some of my paintings in the background. And I play music. I used to sing and write the lyrics, write the songs for a punk rock band called Scary Elvis. I'm still working on music. Never stops. Anyway, the passions will keep you going. The teaching is what allows me to make a living. Anyway, welcome to the class. I will not ever probably get to meet you. If we do a Zoom meeting, there's so many people in these classes, we'll see what happens. We'll see how that works. Not yet, though. So I will only get to know you through your writing. And so forgive me for not be able to put a name to a face. That's probably not going to happen. You will be sick of my face, though, by the time this class is over. I guarantee it. Anyway, so read the syllabus. It's important to go through the details. I've had too many questions already today that are answered in the syllabus about the textbooks. Now I've answered them. Those are the 2 textbooks you need to get. They're listed in the syllabus. The Story of Film by Mark Cousins. We're also going to be watching the documentary he made. I picked that book because it's not a history film of Hollywood film. That stuff's in there. It's world cinema. And he approaches it in a different way, and I appreciate the way he approaches it. He approaches it not in star power or money-making movies, but in cultures. And that's what I want to get through in this class. If we can, we're going to look at films from other cultures also, not just Hollywood films. And because cinema is so important out there in the world, and it has been for many, many decades, but mostly we all know Hollywood cinema because that's what we see here in America. But China, Asia, Africa, South America, Russia, all has rich, rich cinema history. And French, British, absolutely, Italian. And I won't be able to cover all those guys as much as I'd like to, but between the documentary and this book, you'll get a good survey outlook on other cultures and their cinema. And what you'll find out about cinema is how we're all tied together in the same story. There's really no difference except for where we live and our languages, because we're all looking at the same type of stories. So it's universal. And that's the beautiful thing about cinema, is it's universal. And it's trying to find some kind of universal connection. And that's why going to a movie theater is so important. We're not going to be able to do that for a while during this pandemic. So that is lost on us. We're all watching films on our computers or your flat screen TVs alone. Maybe have some friends over and watch a Bruce Willis action film, or I should say Keanu Reeves or whoever is out there that you might like. So cinema is becoming, was a collective audience. It needed an audience because that came from theater and music, where they actually need an audience for this stuff. But now the audience is isolated. And so a lot of movies right now are getting released on Netflix and Hulu and everywhere else because they're not going to the movie theaters. And something will be lost over that. I mean, Christopher Nolan has a new movie out. He doesn't want to release it to Netflix because it's a $300 million movie. And if you know his movies, he did Batman. He did his last movie was the World War II movie. I've already forgotten the name of it. It's pretty good. Wasn't great, but he always does really extravagant movies. Dunkirk was his last movie, if I remember that right. And they're kind of lost on the small screen. You might have a big screen in your living room, but it's not as big as there or the sound that they have at the movie theater. And so he's been holding off on releasing it, but he's probably going to have to release it onto a streaming platform soon just to get some kind of audience and some kind of financial payback. It won't pay back that budget, though, probably. Anyway, so check that syllabus out and look at those textbooks. Order them today. And you'll see my information, my email. It's my personal email, and it's my personal phone. Don't abuse it. You can text me. I prefer text on a phone call. But make sure you tell me your name and tell me what class you're in, because I've got 3 classes at Shasta College. And so if you just say, hey, what about the textbook, I won't know what you're talking about. So make sure you identify yourself and the class you're in, so I can keep it straight and get you the right information you need, okay? You're going to be in the syllabus. You'll see the assignments. It's pretty simple and basic. 100 total points. That's it. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 90 is a B. The Shasta College, community colleges don't have minuses and pluses. And so there's a big margin there. So if you lose 10 points, you're not going to get an A. It goes down pretty quick if you don't hand in a couple assignments. So there's going to be, I think I have 6 essays planned. 5 or 6, I can't remember already because I don't have the syllabus in front of me. It's online. And they'll be worth 10 points apiece. There'll be 2-page essays, critical essays. I'll explain all that in detail later. Don't worry about it yet. There's also going to be a final, I have quiz on the, it's a final quiz it is, but it's a take home. So don't worry about it yet. And I won't do it till the last 2 or 3 weeks of school. So that's clear in December? So don't worry about it yet. It's going to be an essay questions. It'll be just 3 questions, essay questions, worth 15 points. Each question is worth 5 points. You get the questions right, you get 15 points. That's an A. Anyway, there's also going to be a final paper. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It'll probably be a research paper that I make you do, and I'll pick the topic, or I'll allow you to pick the topic. But we'll talk about this later. If you can't pick a topic, I will suggest topics. You'll see it as we get closer. This will be towards the end of the semester. You're also going to have to keep a journal, reflection. It's like a diary. And so this class is essentially 17 weeks long. And so there should be at least 17 entries. You could do daily entries. You could do weekly entries. Make sure you just say week 1, week 2, week 3, so I know what it is. And in that entry, you're going to tell me what you did. It's a journal similar to a diary. This lets me know that you were paying attention, that you're reading the book, that you were participating, because we're not in class together. I'm not going to be taking a roll call, and I'm not going to be saying who's absent, who isn't. So the more information you give on this weekly journal, the better for you. I'm going to post some examples. Don't worry about it yet. I'll post some examples soon. You'll see what I'm talking about. But essentially, a sample week will be the first week the professor talked about the beauty of cinema. He talked about how it's tragic that we can't go to movie theaters anymore. He made us watch this silent film. He made us read the chapter. What did I get out of the chapter? That's the reflection part. I just don't want you to list what we did, but also reflect on it, just a sentence or 2. That lets me know that you got something out of that week, and it lets me know that you're paying attention. It's part of your participation. It's only worth 10 points. But remember, it's only 100 points, so 10 points can knock you from an A to a B. If you don't hand it in, or if you just do a lousy one, you won't get the 10 points. Like I said, don't worry about it yet. I would start taking notes, though, quickly. And how I would do it, take the notes, I would type them up. Do not hand me a handwritten journal. I won't accept it. Put it in a file, and the last week of school, upload it to the assignments. That's where you'll upload the journal. It should be 4 pages or so of entries. Each entry a paragraph or so for each week. 17 entries. I'm just giving you can make it longer. If you make it shorter, it makes me look like you weren't paying attention. You'll see samples. We'll talk about this later. I'm just giving you the overall thumbnail sketch of what this class is going to entail. And there will, every day, check the announcements on Canvas, because that's where I make all the announcements for the next lectures, for what you should be reading, for what you should be watching. And then when I finally do assign assignments, which I haven't done yet, You'll see it there, and we'll talk about that when you get there. What else? There's a great filmmaker, Jean-Luc Godard. He's French. Uh, he's turning 90 this year, folks, and he's making a new film. He has made some revolutionary cinema his day. Maybe you've seen something, probably not. But his most famous films would be Breathless, A Band of Brothers. Those were in the 60s. His last ones were essentially almost avant-garde video essays, but he's still at it. And he's still out there, and he still believes in cinema. And he is famously known for saying something I live by: everything is cinema. And that sounds possibly ludicrous. You think, oh, that's silly. You'll learn. Think again. Now everything's cinema more than ever in our whole entire history of our culture. Especially everybody's got a cell phone, smartphone. We're all taping everything we do. We're sticking it up on YouTube or Vimeo or Instagram or Facebook. Cinema's everywhere now. You take a video of your meal you ate or a trip you took or your cat being cute or something, or you're having a drunk party and you're having wild abandoned skinny dipping in the pool and you're taking videos of it. That's cinema, folks. You put a camera on it and it makes it a movie. Cinema is a French word. A lot of French words created our language of movies. I'm not going to yak too long. I'll keep this short. I'm going to make the announcement to go look at this in announcements. And so hopefully you all know what YouTube is. You know what I'm talking about. You've done it a million times. So it shouldn't be that hard. If you have questions, you'll see my number. Text me. But please don't keep asking me questions that are answered in the syllabus, because I'm going to say it's in the syllabus. Go read it. So we're going to watch the history of films in this class. And most of it will be American films. Some of it won't, because we're going to do a foreign section where we talk about Kurosawa, the great Japanese filmmaker, Fellini, the great Italian filmmaker, Ingmar Bergman, the great Swedish filmmaker, Peter Almodovar, the great Spanish filmmaker, Buñuel, another Spanish filmmaker that changed world cinema, and it affected American cinema. Movies started about 1895. The first movie camera was invented by the man who invented the light bulb, folks, Thomas Edison. And Thomas was an inventor. He also invented the phonograph. You know, records are, your parents, grandparents played that vinyl. He invented that. So anyway, we're going to be talking about old history. You got to go through that. You're going to have to suffer through some black and white movies. Yes, I know how you feel about it. You're going to have to look at a silent film. And if you've never seen a silent film, or maybe you've seen scenes from a silent film, you really haven't. Because some of our greatest cinema in history are silent. What they were doing from about 1910 to about 1930 was a revolution. And nothing we do today, nothing, whether it's the new X-Men, the new John Wick, the new Atomic Blonde, the new Superman, the new Wonder Woman, none of that would be here without these brilliant movies that started it all off 100 years ago, 90 years ago. And before you think that people hated black and white like you do, and they couldn't understand why they're not talking because they didn't have the ability to record voices. There's no microphones. There was no such thing as color film. So black and white is how it started. Silent and no dialogue. Although they're talking, you just have to read the dialogue below. And they had sound effects. You could hear cannons roaring, horses running, and they had music. So silent movies technically aren't silent. That's the only thing they knew. And so they didn't miss talking, dialogue. They didn't miss color because black and white is what it was. And so people of your generation, the millennials, Generation Z, don't understand how people could suffer through a silent black and white movie. Well, it was state of the art when it happened 100 years ago. Anyway, on that happy note, welcome to the class. Let's try to have some fun in this class as much as we can on the virtual world. I'm going to constantly be pushing you to think deeper, analyze more on what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you think you see, and what does it all mean? Because like Godard said, everything is cinema. On that note, welcome to the class. I'll see you next time.